Let's create a budget. Let's get out of debt. Let's build wealth. Guys, welcome back to the channel. So let's continue on with this and get on to our last financial statement, which is the cash flow statement. So we looked at profit and loss, we looked at balance sheet in the last couple of videos, and we found out ways that it can help improve and give us ideas on how to increase our revenue and decrease some of the expenses. So cash flow statement, it's basically looking at where the money was spent. So in this, make sure we have everything here. 140, we did the bank 1,000. Okay, so if we look at the cash flow, the cash flow statement, this one will tell us everything, where the money is spent, basically where we're spending our money. Okay, so we have income of $7,500, our operating cash, and on the balance sheet we couldn't really see where the money was going, but on here, cash flow statement, you can actually see where the money is going. So it cost us $4,860 in operating cash. We had $10 coming in from dividends, that investments, and then we had financing of $1,236. So looking at this, we had $7,510 total. Okay, so looking at that, we can see that 590 went to the budget, utilities 580, we spent 700 on credit cards, and this operating cash, that's $700 that went to principal on the credit cards. Expenses, miscellaneous expenses, 0. Actually, that miscellaneous expense is 300. There's a mess up there. Corrected that. It's kind of why I made this video. I tested out everything, but like I said, this drove me to insanity. So 300 miscellaneous expenses, 1,000 went to the family bank, 350 automobiles, 1,500 to the mortgage, and 140 to the checking savings account. We spent 1,114 on investments. We had 5,000 in credit cards, 600. We had 1,236 in financing costs. So that gave us 7,500. And this part, it normally only tells you like the available cash, whatever. I like to separate cash and credit because I think it's important when you're looking at a family business to know whether that money is coming from cash or credit. And if, I was looking at this, I would want to know whether someone was using credit for everything or cash, or how are they using it. So if we look at the investments, 1,114 went to investments, which is the total here, 1,114. This total budget, utilities, credit cards, if we look at the budget, the utilities, 590, 580, credit cards, 700, 590, 580, 700. That miscellaneous expense, that was the mess up from earlier, $300 is right here. Family bank, 1,000, checking 140, 1,000 in a family bank. Checking and savings is the 140. Automobiles 350 and 1,500. Again, the 350 and 1,500, that's just the principal part of it. We separated the finance on the cash flow statement. The financing credit cards, 550 for the auto and the mortgage, and 686 for credit cards. 350 there. Wait, no. $50 for automobile. That's 550 for auto and mortgage, and then credit cards 686. And that's typical. I mean, you're spending more. Look, you're spending more in interest on credit cards than you are on housing and mortgage. Obviously, these are made up numbers and probably would never be that way. But who knows? You know, that's the whole point in looking at this kind of stuff, to see these things and figure these things out, because that's part of running a business. You know, if you work at a job every day, you go to work every day, and you may be the one, or you may hear someone complaining all the time, like, hey, you know, they're cutting our hours, or, you know, why did they stop putting, you know, the medicine in the first aid kits, and why are they doing all that? They're looking at this as a business. You know, they're seeing where they have to cut expense, you know, and you're looking at, you know, they're looking at it like, hey, why are we paying that expense? Let's just put it onto the employees. Which, you know, you got companies, and that's just kind of part of it. You look at it this way, you're thinking, you know, I owe $350, there's $50 going to interest going to somebody. You know, this is where you can loan out money to your family members. If you're looking at this and you're like, what? You know, I got $20,000 cash, refinance the car for your family member, interest going back to you, right? I mean, you're still paying the interest regardless, but where is it going to? You know, so this starts to open your eyes up, and it starts to let you be able to see the different things. So we had $7,510 in cash. We spent the whole $7,510, but $1,140 is now available because $140 went to the savings. And like I said, we're looking at the family bank as cash. That $1,000 went to the family bank. Credit cards, we had $5,000. You know, that's that $5,000 we added in that previous video here. You know, if that, you know, we added, when you actually fill all this out, you put another 500 there, it'll be 5,500. But, you know, it adds that up. So 5,000 available credit. Now it says the available credit is 5,000, but when this is actually, you know, figured out, and you actually put this in, let's say that you have a balance of 2,000 here, right? And first, always make sure that it's still green up there, because that will, all of these feed off of each other. I mean, it was, again, insane trying to build an Excel sheet that actually did the cash. I mean, it basically fills it out for you. And I don't know if anybody ever worked with this, or if you try it on your own, you'll see what I'm talking about. But so, you know, if we, like I said, we put, there's a balance of 2,000, there's a $5,000 total available credit. That means there's 3,000 here available, right? So it will change it to 3,000. The beginning credit was 5,000. It'll change it to 3. In the next months, it'll go off of your available credit at the time, and then we can see the difference on whether, you know, you're reducing that. So this cash flow statement tells a lot, and this is really one of the most important statements to look at. You know, people always, like I said, I was saying, you wanted this in the last video, you want to see where this money is going. You can see, like, hey, they got a lot of assets, you know, they got a lot of equity and reserves, but this is going to actually tell you, you're going to look at this and be like, whoa, you know, their budget is kind of high for their income. I mean, you know, you look at utilities, like, why are they spending that much on utilities? You know, and that's where, you know, if you watch the first video, the profit and loss, whoever's over that can be like, hey, 580, I need to get that down. So you start getting these down, and as you get these down, it starts increasing cash flow, which then you could then turn to use for investing, which will then start upping this. You know, you look at, there's only $10. Like most people, this will be zero, you know, because they don't have any other income coming in. That's why looking at profit and loss, balance sheet, and cash flow, by doing this, by going that extra step and looking at your family like it's a business, you're going to understand that, okay, I need to increase this. Increasing this is getting you closer to financial freedom. Increasing this is getting you stronger, is getting your family financially stronger. So increase this, that's the goal. You know, you look at this and you're like, okay, they're 7,500, 5,160 is taking them to operate their business, and then $1,236 is going to finance. That's almost 90% of their income is just going right out the door. You know, so how are you, there's no wealth being built here because it's just going right out the door. That shouldn't be so. You know, you guys need to start decreasing all of this, decreasing it. How do you do that? Go to what it is, right? Okay, if you're on the first one, budget, go to January, go to your budget, right? And see what you have going out and say, hey, you know, tighten the reins on some of this stuff. You know, see, challenge yourself to make this entertainment 50. You know, by doing that, you increase your cash flow by 50, which then you're going to either put to savings. Remember on the balance sheet that you want to get this reserve higher, right? So by understanding that you want to, that you're basically the measure of your management of the family is the higher this number is, the higher this number is, and the closer it gets to this, the more strong and the better management you're doing. You're being a better manager. But that's a challenging task again, because if not only does that need to be there, but your reserve needs to be high too. So if you think about it, reserve is the bloodline. Then what you need to do is build your checking account, follow the steps on all the other previous videos, build the checking account to the required amount first, you know, build up that reserve, your bank, and then once that's done, knock out debt, because knocking out debt, right? I mean, yeah, you can do the little things here by decreasing a lot of your budget, or by, you know, saving, right? Those are some of the areas, but also reducing, these debts will also increase your cash flow. You know, once, let's say you pay one of these credit cards off, right? That credit card gets paid off. Even though you save $50 there by doing that, you can also save. So there's many angles you could come at this, just like all that debt and stuff is coming at you. So it's understanding and knowing how to do that. And one other thing before I end this one, and I meant to talk about it in the other videos, but that's depreciation. So what did I do there? Let me put that back. Okay, so depreciation will be captured. So on the balance sheet, there's not an actual spot here for depreciation, but let's say that you have 25,000, right? Your total assets is worth 289,624, and the value of those automobiles is 25,000. Well, in February, March, April, let's say it decreased, right? When you fill out that next month, you'll just change that. So you'll change the value of the automobile to whatever it depreciated. So if this appreciated, if you look at the balance sheet, right, your total is 289,624. And if this depreciated, and say this is only worth 20,000 now, right, in February or March, then it's going to lower your assets. I mean, it's going to show up in February, you know, it's going to show whatever month that you put that in, it's going to show it. So depreciation is accounted in here, but that's you doing it by actually, you know, changing the value. You know, if this increased by 4% or 5%, went up to 260 or something, it'll increase your assets, and depreciation will be factored in. I just didn't make it a separate one. Like I said, this took almost 3 weeks, 7 days a week working on to build, and it just to get these numbers and things right. Again, I will upload this into my course. If you guys all the guys already have my course, if y'all find any errors or anything in it, just let me know. Also, I am going to make a more simplified one. This is real complex. I mean, it does most of the work for you, so it's not that hard to figure out. But I am going to be making a simpler, just an easier one that's not broken down so much like a real statements. I mean, even though the structure of it is kind of the same, but it's a little bit different. So guys, I hope that you like this video. If you found value in it, I would appreciate a thumbs up. I would love to see comments on what you guys thought about these, and I'll see you in the next video.